Hello everyone, this video walks you through an AP level example from the 2012 AP Music Theory exam. So, as we would always start, let's start by writing down the bass line. So it's 1-6, C sharp, since 1 is A, then we go to D, then it's a 5-4-3 over 2, so a 5-4-3 over 2. So what's a 5 of 2? Well, 5 of 2 is a 6 chord. So it's a major 6 chord, it's a dominant 7/6 chord that is in second inversion. So that means that since it's made up of the 6th, 1st, and 3rd scale degrees, that the 3rd scale degree is in the bass, so we go back to C sharp. Now we have a 2, 2nd scale degree is B, then we have a 5/7, 5th scale degree is E, then we have a 6, 6th scale degree is F. Alright, now we write a melody. So I'm gonna make the sopranos go down so we don't double the 3rd. Then I'm gonna keep them there because that works with that chord. Then we come across what is essentially an F sharp dominant 7 chord. So I'm gonna put the A sharp in the soprano voice. Then I'm going to lead this up because this is acting as the new leading tone. So I'm going to bring it up to the new tonic, so to speak. And then I'm going to keep that there because that works with this chord. And then I'm going to go down to the 3rd because that's a part of the 6th. Also, it's a nice cadential figure because if it were a 5-1, it would also work like this as well. So now let's fill in the rest of the voices. So I'm going to keep this tenor voice the same because that works. Then I'm going to keep this alto voice the same because that works. We're not doubling the 3rd, so we're good. Then I'm going to then I'm going to keep the tenors the same. I'm going to move the altos up because the 4th chord is a D major chord. Then again we come across the F sharp dominant 7 chord, so I'm going to move this down to the E and this down to the F. Now why not keep the F the same in the alto? Well, because it's a lot less awkward for the tenors to go to the F than it is for them to go to the E. So the tenors going from A to an F is slightly weird, but like going from an A to an E here or an E here is even more weird. So I'm going to keep the movement to the E in the altos. Anyway, our next chord is a 2 chord, so that means it's B minor chord. I'm going to keep the tenors the same. I'm going to move the altos down because we need the 3rd of the chord somehow. Then we come across a 5/7. I'm going to move the tenors up so that we have the 3rd of the chord. Then I'm going to move, since it's a 5/7, that means that we need a D in there, so I'm going to keep the altos the same. And then I'm going to move them down because the 7th of the 7th chord, in this case, always has to go down, and in almost every case. Then I'm going to move the tenors down to an F, even though they're the leading tone, because this way you're not doubling the 3rd. So now we just check it over for parallel fifths and octaves. Well, first I guess we should check it over for tendency tones. So why don't we do that first, actually. So this is the effective leading tone of this chord, and that moves up, so that's good. Then this is the effective 7th, and that moves down, so that's good. Well, actually, this is just the 7th, not the effective 7th. Then we come across the 5/7 chord, and this 7th moves down, so we're good. And this leading tone doesn't go up, but we have a good reason for it. And it's not an outer voice, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. So now that we've done that, again, let's check for parallel fifths and octaves. So there's a 5th here and here, then there's a 5th here, same voices, but they aren't moving, so it's fine. Then we come across a 5th here, there's no 5th in these two voices later. We come across a 5th here, that was entered in oblique motion, is fine, and then it's not in the same voices later. And then there's no 5th in this chord. And then here we come across the 5th right here, it's oblique motion, so it's good, it's not in the same two voices. Then we come across the 5th here, it's oblique motion, so it's alright. Then we come across another 5th. Oh! Okay. we have parallel fifths between the tenors and the altos. Now, this is one of those, which rule is better to break? Because we can either double the third and break this rule, or break that rule, but if we do, we're also satisfying the leading tone rule. So, for this, I'm going to actually say that we can move the third up. We can have the tenors go to the third, but only because of the circumstance. Because it's the leading tone, so it normally goes up. So I'm going to say it's alright there, but really it's kind of a last-ditch effort. But in this case, alright. Now let's go to octaves. So we have the octaves here. We have octaves here, but inner voice, so it doesn't really matter. Then we have an octave here. It's the same voice, but it didn't move, so it's not parallel. No octaves in here. Then there's an octave here, contrary motion, so we're good. Then we have no octaves here, and then we have an octave here, contrary motion, so we're good. So this example is set. So why don't we hear what this sounds like? So that third may sound a little bit weird, but again, I'm pretty sure that it's okay, just because of this specific context. If we could have avoided it without creating parallel fifths, I would have done it, but I think because it's the leading tone going to the tonic that it's alright. So that's an AP level example, and thank you. Good night.